race fans at NOLA Motorsports Park. I'm Rob Housen, the voice of this USF Pro Championship presented by Continental Tire. And we continue on with a very busy Friday qualifying for USF Juniors. Already done in the books. USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000 getting ready to take to the track after a full day of testing on Thursday. As we know, Liam McNeely comes in with the point lead in USF 2000, and we got to look at Max Garcia for Pabst Racing, the point leader in USF Pro 2000. Both these drivers looking to build off the momentum from St. Petersburg. Again, back-to-back qualifying sections here for this broadcast. Get ready to go. After this break, we'll be back. USF 2000 drivers will be on the racetrack.
Over the years, we've chased down a lot of dreams, each one leading to the next, all the way to our most electrifying dream yet. Introducing the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue. Made to inspire the newest generation of dreamers so they can make their dreams a reality. The all-new, all-electric Prologue from Honda.
Welcome back to NOLA Motorsports Park. Those of you who tuned in and joined us for the opening qualifying session of the day, USF Juniors getting Q1 done. That'll set the grid for race number one of the triple header for the youngest drivers in the USF Pro Championships. Again, hello everyone. My name is Rob Howden, the voice of this USF Pro Championships presented by Continental Tire, and again, excited to be here for what will be the first round of the 2025 campaign for the juniors. These drivers heading to the track right now, USF 2000. Have already been on track. Of course, the doubleheader at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg puts Liam McNeely here in NOLA as the point leader. Rounds 4, 5, and 6 on the docket for today around this 2.74-mile, 13-turn road course. A lot of very fast corners coming out of turn 4 here. 5, 6, and 7. Essentially full pin. You may lift a little bit here and there. I'll talk to some of the drivers to see exactly how they're able to roll through these corners, but it is a fast racetrack out there. You're flat out, then down, of course, into the 8-9 chicane, the right-left. Leads down into turn number 10, one of the primary passing opportunities on the racetrack. So USF 2000 rolling out here with 18 drivers. 19, I believe, actually, here this weekend for the Continental Tire Grand Prix of Louisiana. Over 60 drivers in total here in the USF Pro Championships at NOLA Motorsports Park. And it's been absolutely Chamber of Commerce weather, and is going to be for the remainder of the weekend. And as I kind of chatted about a little bit during qualifying for USF Juniors, you never know what you're going to get when you come down to NOLA. Back in February, we were here for spring training, only able to get one day in. And in fact, only really half a day. The first half of the day, we had meetings, we had seminars. Chip Ganassi Racing's Mike Hall talked to all of our drivers and parents. That was a fantastic seminar. But we got on track that afternoon, but then, of course, it rained all evening and flooded the racetrack, essentially. We weren't able to go racing on the Sunday, so you're going to get that sometimes when you're down here at NOLA. This time, though, as we talked about, everybody kind of looking at that forecast coming into the weekend. What are we going to see? And it was nothing but sun, and that's exactly what we've had. Beautiful day yesterday, gorgeous day today. It's already hit the forecast high of 79. We may even get up to 80. Forecasting a little cooler tomorrow, maybe low 70s, and then back to the high 70s for Sunday. Today, all about official practice earlier today in the morning. Now we're into qualifying 1, set in the grid for the opening round of 2 races. Tomorrow morning, we'll do qualifying 2 for all 3 categories. That will set the grid then for race number 2 and race number 3. And then from there, of course, lots of racing throughout Sunday as well. Second round and third rounds of the weekend here, rounds 5 and 6 on the season for the drivers here in USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000. Earlier today, Liam McNeely, your point leader from J. Howard Driver Development, went quick again. In fact, he has been essentially up top from the very beginning of the season. McNeely driving that number 6 machine. Again, the driver out of London, England, in the acclaimed contracts Wolf International. J. Howard Driver Development car swept the action, swept the main events at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Brings a pretty healthy lead over Jack Jeffers of 13 points in this weekend. As I said, he was quickest in all the sessions yesterday, both test sessions, quickest in practice this morning. So Liam McNeely with a head of steam, the momentum that every one of these young drivers wants. Momentum and confidence kind of go hand in hand when you're talking about this program. And indeed, just getting things underway. 30-minute window, 20 minutes of green flag running for the drivers here. You'll have a look at the shots we have around the track. This drone's going to give us a really good look at some of the wheel-to-wheel action down there in turn number 3, double apex, essentially opening up at the exit a little bit, but not much. You come back across here again into turn number 4. See McNeely there run out of 4. They'll use the curbing on the outside, drop a curb there, you can find some suspension damage. That's one of the things. This track is pretty tough. We have had a number of teams that have had to deal with push rod failure, push rod just bending essentially, and sending drivers either off the track or into pit lane. There's that number 24 machine of Caleb Gaffera. Caleb, a former driver of the Skip Barber Formula Racing Series, top carter in North America for a couple of years. In fact, was the outright fastest and best junior driver a number of years ago as well. So that's some British Formula 1600 racing, done some sports car racing. Finally able to put a program together to get into the USF Pro Championships. And Caleb Gaffera in that number 24 machine of Charlotte, North Carolina, the Circle K Bell Racing Electronics Molecule-sponsored Tatis machine. Right in front of him is teammate G3 Argyros. You can see that car right at the entry, or essentially the mid-corner there, having a little bit of oversteer, losing the rear end off it. They're together right now on the racetrack, so Gaffera doesn't want to give it up and move forward. He's standing right there on the gearbox of his teammate. Just 2 drivers this year for Pabst Racing. G3 Argyros and Caleb Gaffera. Up top here to get things underway early on. Thomas Schrag leading the way. Jack Jeffers now goes to P1. Schrag running for VRD Racing this year, the number 2 machine out of Bethel, Ohio. Schrag in the Doug Mockett and Company Airport Electric VRD Tatis. Jeffers now moves to the top of the charts. San Antonio, Texas is the home for Jeffers, who has had a couple of great years so far in the USF Pro Championships. Finished 3rd in his first year in USF Juniors. Right there in the hunt last year as well. Making the jump up here now to USF2000 full-time. A couple of second-place finishes at St. Petersburg for Jeffers. Some dust in the background there coming through, I believe, turn number 5, 6, and 7. So we'll see whether or not the driver potentially out there. Another driver, I think, here off the track. Yeah, someone's all the way off. That is Ayrton Hauk. The Benchmark Autosport number 58 of Ayrton Hauk has gone off track, as you can see, over to the left side of the racetrack. This is exactly where we saw Emma Scarborough in USF Juniors off. You can see just coming out, it's a great shot here from the drone. Out of turn number 5, you're rolling speed through 5. If you get and you lose it, you end up out there in the beach. You can see the gravel trap all the way there around the outside of 5, 6, and 7. There's 7 there in the run down in. So red flag coming out here, just a couple of laps into this run. And that is tough for Ayrton Hauk. He had put down only, I believe, 2 laps at that point. And he's had a rough day as is already. Yesterday they had an issue where they sucked a bolt or a nut into the motor, had to swap the motor out, got that done overnight, and then had an issue with the header in the practice session earlier today. So he has not had much track time at all, and he finds himself off the racetrack on sticker Continentals out there on the exit of turn number 5. So the AMR IndyCar safety team will head out there very quickly. That'll be a tow. They'll have to get that rope onto him and get him out. I doubt there's any damage to the car. He probably just overcooked it a little bit trying to carry speed through that corner. Yeah, it looks just to me like the rear of the car is buried. He's probably got on the throttle and buried it down a little bit. So there's the AMR IndyCar safety team on hand. Out of the gate, a couple laps in. 2, 3, 4 laps, depending on the driver. Everybody working their way back to pit lane. Jack Jeffers with the fast time of 1:34.866. They knocked about 8 minutes off the time clock. Liam McNeely in second. Third spot is Thomas Schrag. 4th, Teddy Musella. 5th, Brad Majman. 6th, Caleb Gaffera. 7th, Anthony Martella. 8th is Christian Cameron. 9th, G3 Argyros. And 10th is Evan Cooley. Again, single lap time here. Only one lap will count, as this qualifying session will set the grid for race 1. Qualifying 2 setting the grid for race 2 and 3. So the fastest time in qualifying 2 sets the grid for race number 2. The second fastest time will set the grid for race number 3. But again, if you go quicker in race 2 than the qualifying time you have set for race 3, you're able to use that time. So Jeffers, McNeely, Schrag, Musella, and Majman teams going to work down on pit lane right now. Not surprising. We've maybe seen some teams put on new rubber. With 3 races on the docket for these drivers, they have 4 sets of new Continentals for use during qualifying and the 3 races. They have a carryover set from testing yesterday that they were able to use in practice earlier today. So you can see the teams going to work quickly, trying to get tires swapped over here. Jeffers, McNeely, Schrag, Musella, Majman. 34.886 for Jeffers, 34.934 for McNeely, 34.982 for Schrag. 3 drivers have got below that 35-second mark. McNeely's time earlier today in practice, 34.283. But getting some of the insight from Oliver Weldon, who qualified on the pole for VRD for race number 1 in USF Juniors, talking about the fact that later in that run, that 20-minute run that they had, it did start getting a bit greasy at the end. He was able to put his fastest time down at the very end of the session, but indeed, starting to get a little more greasy out there. Temperature rising, as I had said, 79 degrees here at trackside. It was probably about 62 or 63, maybe up to 65 when we got here this morning. So the temperature has risen significantly, but and indeed a little bit warmer than it was, I think, when we were here in testing yesterday. Rubber going down as well. One of the things that happens at any racetrack, the more we run here, the more Continental rubber goes down. But there are other series with us here as well. USAC has its Mustang program here as well. The Skip Barber Formula Race Series here too. We expect a number of drivers to move from Skip Barber up into USF Juniors. That's the program that has been set up over here. We have a number of drivers this year coming out of last year's Skip Barber program. Oliver Weldon winning the Skip Barber Formula Race Series Championship last year. They offer a $100,000 scholarship to their champion to move into USF Juniors. Other drivers coming over, Matan Achitov. He ran a number of races at Skip Barber last year, as did Thomas Nordqvist. Lincoln Day, a couple of years ago, did some racing in the program as well. So Skip Barber, fantastic, as we know, driver development program. The Skip Barber Racing School is the official racing school of the USF Pro Championships. They're inviting drivers to compete for over $500,000 in prizes, including a $100,000 scholarship, as I mentioned, for the series champion to enter into USF Juniors. Skip Barber Racing School Formula Car Series. It's a 7-weekend, 14-race series that takes place at the most iconic tracks in America with high visibility and a pro race atmosphere. The Skip Barber Formula Car features a 160 horsepower turbo engine and a paddle shift 6-speed transmission. You get a professional crew, expert instruction, video, data analysis, and hospitality, and more. Sign up today at skipbarber.com. Looking forward to watching those drivers get out and racing here throughout the weekend. Test day for them today. Ethan Boer, I believe, the winner of the first 2 rounds of the Skip Barber program, so they'll have a doubleheader here on the weekend as well. 11 minutes and 30 seconds still to go. You see the Continental Tire umbrellas coming out to try to shade these drivers from the sun. Again, Jack Jeffers, the driver, currently up top for Exclusive Autosport. 5th last year, 6 podiums, 8 top 5s for Jack Jeffers in the USF Juniors program. He did get a chance to race at St. Petersburg as well in USF2000 last year. Essentially a top 10 driver the entire time. 3rd overall, as I said, in USF Juniors 2 years ago. 3 victories on the season, and a former Lucas Oil School of Racing Formula Race Series champion. I thought that they may be able to just pull out the car of Ayrton Hauk and drag him out as they did with Emma Scarborough, but on the hook, you have to wonder if there was some kind of suspension damage. We've talked about the fact that a number of drivers have had issues with pushrod failure, pushrod damage from really hammering the curbs here at the track. So Maybe a push rod issue there. Something happened, though. The bottom line is that thing wasn't going to drive its way back around to pit lane. So Ayrton Hauk at number 58 for Benchmark Autosport. They have had a rough one so far here this weekend, just trying to get that car out for some laps. It's just been these little things here and there that have hampered them here in their second weekend as a brand new team. Kevin Hauk, his program with Benchmark. So once they're able to get him behind the wall, we'll refire here. Shouldn't take long for the AMR crew to get him behind the wall. And I don't know that they'll go all the way back to the paddock right now. They may just take him into the shortcut that they have before pit lane. We saw that happen during the USF Juniors session as well. Liam McNeely, we've talked about the fact that he has been an absolute beast out of the gate. 18-year-old driver, the rookie here in USF 2000 this year from London, England. Was a series runner-up last year in USF Juniors. 5 victories on the season, 8 top 5s, 12 top 10s. This guy spent a lot of the time either in the top 10 or up there winning races or trying to be in the top 5. We look to see where a lot of these drivers have come from. Of course, we get a lot of drivers coming in from USF Juniors and moving their way up into the program. But when you talk about where the drivers from in USF Juniors come from, that's one of the interesting things to me as well. Liam ran number 1 Janetta Juniors for a number of years and then moved in 2023 to the GB4 series, finishing 3rd overall. GB4 evolving this past year to move into the old GB3 machinery, so a different kind of formula now for GB4, which was essentially old F4 cars in years past. It's now the new using the old GB3 car. GB3, of course, with a brand new car here for 2025. Again, seeing a lot of drivers come out of the F4 ranks in the U.S. here in the juniors and USF 2000. Yeah, there's a couple stickers there. That's Caleb Gaffera and G3 Argyros with fresh rubber. Drivers bolting out of pit lane to get right at it. Talked about G3 Argyros and Caleb Gaffera. Argyros, 15 years of age, sophomore driver, did a number of races last year in USF 2000 alongside a full USF Juniors program. 7th overall in juniors, 3 podiums, 5 top 5, 7 times in the top 10 for Argyros. And again, like so many of the young drivers, these rookies, they get through half of the season and then really start, getting those results they've been looking for. And you look at Argyros, who not only did he run the full season in USF Juniors, but also 10 starts in USF 2000. He ran a bunch of USF 2000 races, was able to come away with a big victory in Portland, but also 6 top 10s. 7 top 10s in juniors, and then with limited starts, 6 top 10s in USF 2000. So very impressive driver. There's Gaffera there as well in the number 24 rookie, as I said, out of Charlotte, North Carolina. 4th overall in the Skip Barber Formula Series back in 2023 and was a SuperCards USA Pro Tour champion in X30 Junior and KA100 Junior in 2022. So outright in 22 was the top junior national karter in the U.S. Keeps karting when he can, either behind the wheel, doing a lot of coaching and data acquisition work. Again, of course, living down in Charlotte where he does, so close to one of the hotbeds of karting in North America these days. Trackhouse Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. Not only are you going to see the top karters out of there, a lot of the teams based out of there as well. But if you go there on a weekday, you're probably going to see a handful of NASCAR drivers banging around there in shifter karts and single-speed karts. Obviously, Team Penske based out of North Carolina as well, so you're going to see Will Power out there. A lot of those guys get out there and get behind the wheel and keep themselves sharp at Trackhouse Motorplex. I bet a lot of times they're trying to chase around Caleb Gaffera. Back at it again here. What do we got? Drivers have all got, at least as a positive, have a feel for what this racetrack's like. Remember, they were on track quite a while ago, early in the morning for practice. So now they come back out here right now. They've had a feel for this racetrack in higher temperatures. They put on sticker tires, which they probably haven't done yet. They would have ran their carryover tires from a testing session yesterday in the morning practice session, the official practice session. So back on sticker Continentals now. They had a feel for it. If they put new tires on and came back out, we'll see what that plays, how their knowledge of that now can allow them to push a little harder. That was a 67 of Ian Boshoff we saw there briefly. Boshoff out of Pretoria, South Africa, running for Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing Development in the Filt-equipped machine. The logo on the side of that race car. He had a rough one at St. Petersburg. And again, getting a feel for this race car, getting a feel for the teams, the tracks. It was a late decision for him to come to St. Petersburg. I think that deal came together really a couple of weeks heading into the season. He's done a lot of testing. I think hoped for more out of St. Petersburg. In fact, he had some good runs, but got into the wall a couple times. So Boshoff again, pressing the reset button to come to NOLA Motorsports Park. Evan Cooley's now gone to the top as we're right back at it. Drivers putting lap times down, 134.717 for Cooley for Exclusive Autosport. He had some issues earlier on today getting the car working, and yesterday as well. They've got things dialed in here now, and he's getting some seat time in. Let's just put it out here. The fast time for Liam McNeely was a 134.283. We're 134.7. So we're about a half a second off where McNeely was earlier. One of the things about this car for this year, if you tuned into the broadcast at St. Petersburg, we have removed the restrictor, so you're getting probably about 25 to 30, potentially more horsepower. We're going to break the track record here for sure. Last year, Joey Brienz from Exclusive Autosport did that with a 135.314, but we're already running Liam McNeely at a 134.1, already over a second faster with this car with that restrictor pulled away, so it's a lot quicker. So it gaps juniors in USF2000, and you would have thought, hey, brought USF2000 closer to pro, except for the fact that we've added a number, quite a bit of RPM range, top-level RPM range. The soft limiter for that pro car now up much higher than it was. So it's going to be probably setting track records. Well, maybe not track records because we detuned it when we first rolled it out, but it's going to be a lot faster. So really, we just widened everything between juniors and 2000, 2000 and pro. McNeely, Majman, 1-2. Jay Howard, driver development, first and second. Liam McNeely leading the way. Brad Majman now up into second spot in that number 7 machine, the driver to Melbourne, Australia. We talked about the fact that we have a number of Australians here this year and have for many years had Australians come to be part of the action here. Majman has spent some time in the U.S. last year running in the JSF 4 Series. Got 3 wins en route to 5th overall in the JSF 4 Championship, so we're thrilled to have him here in USF 2000 with us, running for Jay Howard Driver Development. Jay's got 4 cars here with Liam McNeely, Brad Majman, Timmy Carell, and Anthony Martella. McNeely first, Majman second, Martella 10th. And where is Timmy Carell? He's currently in 12th. He only got, I think, 1 or 2, maybe 1 flying lap in practice and was able to get himself up inside of the top 15. So I think he was happy with that when I talked to him because he didn't get a chance to get a flyer lap in. Finally did. There's Boshoff there in that number 67. He's moved up to 17th. Vian Boshoff, South African. Solid karting record for Vian. Did a bunch of F4 and USF Juniors testing last year, but 10 years in karting for many years, 15 years of age, a rookie driver, as I had said before. If you know anything about karting, part of the Rotax Grand Finals for South Africa, one of the huge Rotax Max racing countries. Part of the FIA CIK Karting Academy in 2024, 56th there as well. That's a spec program. We have a number of drivers who've been part of that. Caleb Gafera racing that program as well. The nation can only essentially elect 1 driver to go into that spec series that runs in 3 races throughout the European Championships. Just a great program. McNeely on top of the 134.178. Majman 134.351. Jeffers 134.358. Caleb Gafera now up into 4th. He's only 500ths of a second behind Jeffers. Evan Cooley 5th. Sebastian Garzone, last year's champion in the Lucas Oil School of Racing Formula Car Series. Garzone winning both SuperKarts USA Super Nationals Juniors main event this past November. Only 3 drivers have done that. Garzone, the driver to Bogota, Colombia for D-Force Racing in the number 12. He's up to 6th. He was out early with a bent left front suspension in practice this morning. Martella runs 7th. G3 Argyros in 8th. Thomas Schrag in 9th. And Teddy Musella rounds out the top 10. Lucas Facuri now in 11th. Joshua Leonel in 12th. He did not get a chance to get on track at all in the practice session. Timmy Carell now in 13th. Christian Cameron moving up from juniors in 14th. Ryan Janetta, who we figured was going to start or run the year in USF Juniors, electing after spring training to make the move to USF2000. He's currently 15th ahead of Brady Golan, Vian Bossoff, Ayrton Hauk, and Eddie Beswick. Same thing, Beswick only with 3 laps. He may be in the pit right now as well. Yeah, Beswick's in the pit. That Synergy Motorsport team dealing with some kind of issues. He's in pit lane right now. It's only 3 laps for Eddie. Ayrton Hauk, as we know, as well. Not sure if they've got him back on track or not, but they did bring that car all the way in. 4.5 minutes remaining. I'm going to keep an eye out, not just on the screen, but also out the window of the booth here to see if we can't see Hauk. Remember, car's getting lighter, burning the fuel. There is a peak with these tires, but if you've taken care of them and you went maybe low on the pressures out of the gate, remember we had a stoppage 3 laps in. Does anybody have anything for Liam McNeely, or does he continue this streak? 134, 178 for McNeely. Currently up by almost 2/10 on his teammate Brad Majman. Will it be an all front row lockout for Jay Howard driver development? The 7 and the 9 going to swap spots this time by Martella and Majman running together on the racetrack. Cafaro by himself across the track. He's still P4. 3.5 minutes to go. Schrag across start finish as well. Let's pick up the number 19 of Christian Cameron. Currently in the 14th spot. Just 14 years of age, or 15, just 15. Oh, he actually may be 14 still. That was one of the things. Yeah, Christian Cameron's just 14 years of age right now, Sonoma, California. One of the big things, he is 15 now, turned 15 just after St. Petersburg. But one of the things that we did this year with the program, in years past in USF Juniors, in the first 2 years of the program, or 3 years of the program, you could be 13 if you started the season in juniors. But you had to turn 14 before the last race of the year. In the offseason, the executive sat down and said, we're going to lock this down. It's now a hard 14 for any official USF Juniors event with Anderson Promotions. You have to be 14 years of age. For USF 2000, 15. For USF Pro 2000, 16. Lock the ages down, make it simple and easy to understand. So Christian Cameron, though, ran last year. Anybody who was part of the program last year who was close to that age limit and may not make it will be grandfathered in for the following year. And that was Christian Cameron, who wasn't of age 15 to run St. Petersburg, has since turned 15. So is good to go on the new age limit, but still just 15 years of age. 10th overall last year in USF Juniors. Couple of top fives, 5 top 10s. Really a stronger finish for Christian Cameron as he kind of got settled into the car and was better over the second half of the season. We do see a lot of that as we know throughout the program. Last 3 races this year will be Mid-Ohio. In fact, it's back-to-back Mid-Ohio in the middle. NOLA and then Barber, back-to-back Mid-Ohio's, Road America. The driver's gone around coming out of turn number 5. It is not easy through 5. Someone, I think, looped it coming through there. He'll come back to the inside of the racetrack. I'll try to pick up that car. That car scooted by on me, and I wasn't quite sure exactly who that was who went off over in turn number 5. So McNeely's still on top with a minute and a half remaining. Teddy Musella just turned his fastest lap. He'll go up into 7th. Musella for VRD Racing, a 134.773. Remember, we're back-to-back qualifying sessions here on this stream, so don't go anywhere. Final minute for qualifying for drivers here in USF 2000. Liam McNeely, he is just rolling that momentum from a couple of wins at St. Petersburg as a rookie. Rookies, in fact, dominate the top 8 right now. McNeely, Majman, Jeffers, Gaffera, and Cooley. Driver off. Another driver has had an issue going through turn number 5, and that's effectively going to end this session. The end up letting a couple of drivers get through, but you're going to have a local yellow back in that part of the racetrack with the driver off where he is. These drivers coming through the alternate timing line at the end of the track are likely going to see a red and a checker coming here very soon because there's only 19, 18, 17 seconds to go. And you want to be able to get to the back part of that racetrack, get that one last run through. Otherwise, there's going to be the local yellow. You'll probably see that. There it is right there to the right side of the screen. Local yellow in the entry of turn 5. The driver has gone off the outside. There's been a number of cars out there. Checker flag flying. Not quite sure who that is at this point here, but that's going to end the session with McNeely on top. I'm assuming you'd be able to roll through here and get that last lap in because they're not bringing out the red, but remember, there's a yellow flag on the session or in that corner. I doubt they would take any fast lap here because you should have been off the throttle coming through 5 with the yellow flag in that corner. So the remainder of the drivers will work around. We, of course, have quite a bit of time here right now. Don't go anywhere if you're on the stream right now. We are going to take a break. We've got some content to show you, some stuff we put together here in the off season. The IndyCar safety team has already been dispatched. They're going to head their way out now. The entire field has worked its way through turn number 1. You see the remainder of the field coming down the back straightaway through turn number 8. I think a couple stragglers are still. Oh, we have one driver who's blown the checker, and he's going to roll right up into the back here. That's not good. That driver's going to see a penalty for sure. Blew the checker coming through. AMR crew was already out onto the track, and luckily they beat him over to turn number, doing the cut through from turn 1 over to the exit of turn number 4. So here you have it. Liam McNeely, folks, on top. He keeps it rolling. The momentum is there. Confidence, as we say, always plays such a role with these young drivers. The rookie's very impressive. Liam McNeely on the pole. Brad Majman up into seconds with an all Jay Howard driver development front row lockout. Jack Jeffers will start alongside Caleb Gaffera on row number 2. Evan Cooley and Sebastian Garzone on row number 3. Teddy Masello will start 7th alongside Anthony Martella, G3 Argyros, and Thomas Schrag, 9th and 10th. Lucas Fakuri ended up 11th, Joshua Alianel 12th, Christian Cameron in 13th spot, 14th Timmy Carell, 15th Ryan Janetta, 16th Brady Golan, Vian Bossoff, Ayrton Hauk, and Eddie Beswick. Hauk only the 2 laps after going off over in turn number 5. Beswick, some kind of an issue. He was only able to turn 4 laps as well. But I'll tell you, this is it. There's your field coming into pit lane right now. Liam McNeely, man, they are going to be pleased with that. He was able to come out of the gate super strong at St. Petersburg. He did run Toronto last year as part of the action through his USF Junior Series, and that, of course, played to how quickly he was going to be at St. Petersburg. Really picked up that track and was able to be out front early. Great setup for Jay Howard and the crew there to put him out front. He keeps it rolling here with a pole to start things off. He'll be on the front row, inside of the front row for the start of race number 1 tomorrow afternoon. We'll see how all these drivers do for qualifying 2 tomorrow morning. But again, there you have it. Top 5, McNeely, Majman, Jeffers, Gaffera, and Cooley. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll take a quick break here, and when we get back, we'll have the drivers in USF Pro 2000 roll out for their qualifying session.
You can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
Can they handle extremes?
Yep. Tested from the Texas desert to near the Arctic Circle.
Really?
Really.
Anything for the guy who finds that one pothole?
Yeah. Road hazard coverage has your back.
For real?
Absolutely.
Were they made by, like, a bajillion engineers?
Well, closer to 100. Continental. Welcome to the smart choice in tires.
The USF Pro Championships is really the development level for drivers coming out of karting to move their way to the NTT IndyCar Series. The whole concept is we teach them everything they need to know all the way up the ranks.
The USF Pro Championships, it's North American Open Wheel Racing's version of college sports. Got 3 tiers to it, which is pretty important. This whole thing is geared to go upwards and really define who the next stars happen to be.
There are so many drivers that come into the sport and maybe don't have the financial resources to make it all the way to the big time, right? All the way to IndyCar. The scholarship program provides a monetary award that goes to a driver winning the championship that allows them to move up to the next level. So if you win a championship, you win the money you need to go racing in the next level.
A number of drivers in IndyCar today have used the ladder system to gain experience and to gain funding via the scholarships to pay for the next level.
The USF Pro Championship helped me get to this spot in my career because of the many opportunities that it creates.
It was massive for me. The scholarships that are implemented are crucial for drivers. That was my lifeline all the way to IndyCar, and it's the big reason why I made it.
It's very unique, you know. We have the opportunity to win our way to IndyCar, basically, and some guys have done that.
The USF Pro Championships really helped me to get where I am today. You get so much racing on IndyCar tracks. You get ovals too, which for a European guy, that's something that's very useful.
This series is a smooth way of adding new developments into my career and new aspects of it. It's a smooth way of learning how to grow as a driver.
It has a great reputation. The competition level is amazing. It just gives drivers a great opportunity to advance.
The field here is really, really intense. I mean, people are down to the hundreds of thousands a second.
It's a great development series, and I think it's somewhere that you should be if you want to be going to IndyCar.
You know, one of the key factors in the USF Pro Championship that we always focus on is the level of safety. You know, back in 2022, we introduced the halo to the car, which has increased the level of safety dramatically. And again, we're one of the only series that runs that in the junior level. And that's the key for us, is to make sure we take care of our drivers. Number one, on the racetrack. Number two, with the halo. But number three, of course, with the AMR IndyCar safety team as well. Just like IndyCar has a dedicated crew of people that when there's an incident, they're the ones that arrive on scene the first time. They're with us as well. They know our race cars, they know our drivers. So when they get there, in the event there is an incident, we make sure they're completely taken care of.
So for the safety in our series, we follow IndyCar pretty much on all the safety standards as far as drivers' helmets, harness devices, suit requirements. We follow the IndyCar, and the reason for that, because we want to be the best out there. We want to be the safest. We want a mom and a dad to know their son, their daughter is in the car, and they're absolutely the safest they can be.
They always think of safety first, and now every car has halo, so you know if there's any flying debris or if you flip, you know 100% that you're gonna be safe. I had a big crash, Freedom 100, 2019 back in Indy Next, and before my car even stopped rolling, I already had an AMR safety guy in the car saying, "Hey, are you okay?"
Well, having started out as a racing dad, I know full well the concerns of a parent to make sure that we protect their kid, and we are very safety conscious in the USF Pro Championships.
When racers come to run with the USF Pro Championships, they're trying to become professional drivers, as we know, and they're trying to get exposure for what they've done, right? Not only do we teach them in terms of the media side, but they're really hoping for exposure through what we do. All of our races, of course, live on the USF Pro Championships YouTube channel. We have a downloadable app as well that fans can watch all of the races, the documentary, The Climb that we put out, all the live timing, all on the app. So the exposure is there that they're able to leverage. If they have a sponsor or a prospective partner, an investor who's not here trackside, they're able to watch all the racing throughout the year. It's all about giving these kids as much exposure as possible, and there's not another junior formula program in North America that has the kind of exposure at the level that we have here in the USF Pro Championships.
We're rubbing elbows. We're on the same race weekends as IndyCar. And so it helps for those young drivers to look up and see those guys running at the top level like I am now.
Being in the presence of the organization that is IndyCar, you're obviously not racing in the series, but you're racing with it.
We create our schedule to be as much as possible on IndyCar weekends. The IndyCar series is always looking for young talent. They've moved a lot of our kids into the upper levels, and we need to race in front of them.
The IndyCar team owners do pay attention to what's going on the ladder, and that's important for the drivers. But it's a good way to get and learn exactly what goes into a race weekend.
They really made sure to show the importance of social media and posting, and to get well at talking in front of crowds and talking in front of big places.
it's extremely international now, which hasn't always been the case. You're racing against guys that will be future IndyCar race winners, race champions, and so it's a very unique opportunity.
The reason to come and check out the USF Pro Championships is simply because we teach everything you need to work your way to the top. Again, it's not just about racing, it's about everything that you have to learn to be a race car driver, but also the development we have from car to car, level to level, gives the driver a little bit more every year. It's a really graduated step for up the sport, as opposed to diving into something super fast. This teaches you from a really good place coming out of karting into one of the school series like the Skip Barber Racing School, and then into our USF Juniors program. It's such a planned effort. Everything is set correctly so that on the way up you learn incrementally what you need to get to IndyCar.
On our level, our job is to prepare them mentally, emotionally, media conscious, all that stuff. We have training seminars. We have the race directors who will, especially on the juniors level, will work with the kids and try and explain to them what's going on the racetrack, what they did right, what they did wrong. This is a learning series. They need to learn from their mistakes so that when we deliver them to IndyCar, they're the real deal. They're the finished product.
It's really important as they move up the USF Pro Championships ladder to continue to build on their brand as they get to IndyCar. It's a good way for the drivers to learn what they're going to have to deal with as they get to the big leagues.
It gives them a great training ground from the bottom to the top, how to communicate with your team, how to act, how to be as a person, all the things that are needed to become a professional driver.
You really can work hand in hand with your mechanics to tell them exactly what you need. I've learned a lot in this series of what it takes to be a driver and relay that to the mechanics as far as driving, how the car feels, and I think this series just does a great job with putting the drivers with the right teams and the crew to make that happen.
USF Pro Championships, it does a really good job of educating us on what tracks we're going to be running when we get to the professional leagues. Same thing in Formula One. You run the certain tracks that you're going to race in Formula One, and they do a really good job of that here. There's other series that could lead you on the path to IndyCar, but they don't race on the same tracks as IndyCar does. So USF Pro Championships gives you a little bit of a leg up as a young driver to already know the tracks, so that when you become a rookie in IndyCar, you have a little bit more of an even, playing field with the other pros that you're racing against.
With 3 levels in the USF Pro Championships, we have USF Juniors, USF2000, USF Pro 2000. One of the key components of the technical side of our sport is the fact that all 3 levels have the same basic chassis in itself. The USF Juniors, USF2000, very similar race cars with the same engine as well. Larger engine, more horsepower for the drivers in USF Pro 2000. But what we always say is that we want our drivers to get a little bit more of everything as they work their way up the ranks.
We hooked up with Italian race car designer Tatis Race Cars. They are the biggest in the world in junior formula cars, and they've built us an incredible car to our specs. We started with what is a typical Formula 4 chassis, but we strengthened it with a double bulkhead to protect drivers' feet, side intrusion panels. The core of the series is the Tatis race car. The tub is the same on all 3 levels, and a lot of the pieces transfer over from one level to another. So you increase the horsepower on every level, lap times get quicker on every level, but it's all basically the same cockpit and the same controls, same data system, and the drivers can learn as they gradually increase horsepower and go faster.
So the Juniors and the US2000 are basically the same car, same engine, same gearbox. Where it comes into is the engine is detuned. It has a different restrictor on, which is different horsepower. It has different wheels, different dampers, different uprights, different brakes. From there to the pro level, it's different body work, it's different wings on the car, it's a totally different engine. The first 2 levels, they integrate with each other very good. Going to the next one, the same. Still the same, tub, suspension, uprights are the same on a pro car, and brakes as a 2000. It just gets into being a little bit more. It's got a bigger gearbox on it, bigger wheels, bigger tires, more horsepower.
So every step we have specifically designed to make sure you're ready to go that next year when you move up a level. Well, after a solid qualifying run for USF 2000, we've got a massive field of 20 drivers, here in USF Pro 2000, about set to roll out to get their qualifying in here as well. We already talked about the fact that both USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000 already starting off their season just over a month ago at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. So I can guarantee you all of these drivers have been itching to get back onto the racetrack. And, of course, different reasons why as well. You know, there's drivers that, of course, had ultimate success at St. Petersburg that are looking to continue on with that momentum. We already saw Liam McNeely, of course, continuing the momentum that he built off of a couple of wins. But drivers like Max Garcia, who came out of the gate so strongly there, trying to get back at it, trying to get back up front, trying to keep that momentum rolling throughout the remainder of the season. Because, we're here, and then it's another month down the road before we get rolling again at the Grand Prix circuit at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indy GP weekend. From there, we head to Lucas Oil Raceway, Indianapolis Raceway Park for the Freedom 90 for the drivers here in USF 2000, Pro 2000. So they all have, again, different focuses here on this weekend. You're either continuing momentum or you're potentially trying to come back after a rough one at St. Petersburg. Alessandro Tullio came out of the gate as the race winner, but had an issue, got in the wall, and finished 18th in race number 2. That victory still puts him third place in points behind Max Garcia, but the driver really had a strong run, other than Garcia finishing second and, of course, winning the second race. Matt Clark for Exclusive Autosport finishing 4th and 2nd. Started 6th, moved to 4th, started 8th, moved to 2nd on the podium for Clark. So again, that Exclusive Autosport driver just 13 points behind Pabst Racing's Max Garcia. Garcia with the USF Pro Championship scholarship colors, coming off that title victory in USF 2000 last year. DeTulio third, Max Taylor, who we saw run both USF Juniors and USF Pro 2000 last year. Sole focus here on USF Pro 2000. At least within our program, we'll see him potentially do it. Well, not potentially. He's signed up to do a couple of Indy Next races this year as well. It'll be exciting to see Max both be a rookie in the Pro 2000 core and a rookie jumping up into Indy Next. I can't wait to see a number of drivers, Max Taylor being one, Evagores Papasavas being the other, and Nikita Johnson the third, sharing one of the cars at HMD Motorsports in Indy Next competition. Chase Denmark behind them. He is in the 5th spot. He actually qualified on the pole for race 1 here last year. Chase Denmark in the number 26 for TJ Speed. They have 3 drivers here this weekend. Chase Denmark, Ariel Elkin, and Sebastian Manson. Manson coming off a strong run this past winter at the Formula Regional Oceania Championship down in New Zealand. One of our partners with the USF Pro Championships. But again, your top 10 in points coming in: Garcia, Clark, DeTulio, Taylor, and Denmark top 5. Owen Tangevelu in 6th. Tanner DeFavis 7th. Tanner not here this weekend. Michael Costello 8th. Jacob Douglas 9th. And Nicholas Montiero in 10th. 22 drivers started this season. We have 19 on the docket here this weekend for the Continental Tire Grand Prix of Louisiana. Yesterday's test sessions, Max Garcia quickest in the opening test ahead of Michael Costello, DeTulio, Elkin, and Douglas. Second 45-minute run of the day, DeTulio moved his way to the top with a 129.9, went just about a tenth quicker. Pardon me, a tenth quicker. Jacob Douglas moved up into second. Max Garcia was third, Ariel Elkin fourth, and Costello fifth. So those drivers kind of all there in the front pack. Earlier today, Garcia was right there again, DeTulio. So the 2 drivers who actually scored the victories at St. Petersburg were first and second in practice this morning. Michael Costello for Pabst Racing right there with his teammate Max Garcia, looking really good. Taylor for VRD, Tangevelu for VRD as well. They were 4th and 5th. Elkin 6th, Jacob Douglas 7th. Matt Clark, second place in points coming in, was 8th for Exclusive Autosport. His teammate Joey Brienza right behind him in 9th, and then Cooper Beckland for Turn 3 Motorsports 10th. 20 minutes of green flag running, 30-minute window as we know. USF Pro 2000 drivers taken to the track for qualifying 1. There's the 92 of Carson Etter out of Villa Park, California, in the Priority Workforce GATC Health Tatis machine. fast track the way through the program for Carson Etter. Did USF Juniors up to USF2000 and right here in the USF Pro 2000. Again, very interesting with a number of the drivers we have in the program. Where do you come from? Where is your history? So many, of course, just the kind of de facto answer, the default answer would be I came through karting, started when I was 5, 6, or 7, and moved my way up, right? It's the tale that you see IndyCar drivers, F1 for sure, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Stroll, Norris, all, of course, coming through karting. Lewis Hamilton as well came all the way through karting, was picked up very quickly when he was running zip carts back in the day. But indeed, we're seeing a lot of that karting right now, to be honest. That'll be an offshoot we can talk about later. A lot of these young drivers here in North America are already making connections to Formula One teams. Lucas Palacio, one of the top young drivers through the cadet categories, now already connected with Williams F1, running quite a bit over in the U.S. Did a great job with the WSK Supermaster Series as well. But other drivers have come through different places. That's the thing. The amazing thing about Carson Etter is here's a guy that kind of grew up on the dirt. I'm not talking midgets and sprint cars. I'm talking off-road, pro-light, short-course trucks, that kind of thing. Trophy trucks, and was all about horsepower, lots of suspension travel, jumping on the dirt, and said, hey, I'd like to go Formula car racing. Ended up doing the Western Formula 4 Series. Made his debut in USF Juniors in 2023, finished 12th overall, 5 top 5s, really kind of worked his way into the mid-pack of that group. From there, jumped up into USF 2000 last year, 16th overall, same thing, 3 top 10s, all coming later in the season as he got comfortable. Fast track his way up to USF Pro 2000. Probably going to do USF 2000 again, but throws himself into the deep end to run here in USF Pro 2000. There's the 88 of Max Taylor. Hoboken, New Jersey, in the pink Susan G. Komen Foundation Unicorn Tatis for VRD. Won the USF Juniors Championship last year, but also did extremely well in USF 2000 and elected to go right to pro. He would have been able to have a scholarship for 2000, but wanted to go to pro. Of course, the scholarships are connected to the next series, so not able to leverage that scholarship. But that doesn't matter. This kid's going to keep rolling. He's a very talented driver. Max Taylor, we saw him. And again, he's been a driver who I often use when talking to young pilots coming into USF Juniors about how you mature over the years that you're with the program. And Max, he and I had some great conversations last year about how the fact he was impatient in his first year in juniors, would stick the car maybe where it wasn't supposed to be. It was, a lot of high-risk attempts where he changed his mindset coming into 2024. Man, did it ever pay off. He was calm. He was more precise. He was very patient making the moves. If he had to make a big move, he would. There's no doubt. You never have to push Max Taylor into making the move, but he was able to temper that, I think, aggression and that impatience with some really well-timed move. And he came away again with a championship in USF Juniors. And in fact, he did significantly, impressively well in USF 2000. Was kind of almost on the verge of winning 2 championships. But I expect him to be one of the drivers we'll watch throughout the year here in the USF Pro 2000. Again, it's just all about watching these young drivers grow and mature throughout the years in their journey up the program. 8 minutes in, 3 or 4 laps for everybody. Alessandro DiTullio, race 1 winner, on top right now for Turn 3 Motorsports. Back in 2022, we saw him in the USF Juniors program and won a bunch of races. But again, like a young driver, DiTullio made mistakes here and there. He had an issue with one race with an engine problem and wasn't able to start. Had some issues with going off track, a couple incidents here and there. Wasn't able to come away with a championship. Sat out 2023. Was actually the number 3 ranked karter in the nation. Still a top kart racer. Now coaches a bunch of young drivers at a top racing team. But he's got all the talent. Speed is there. We know, out of the gate as a race winner. Ran a number of races last year with BN Racing and Pro. I did a podcast with him earlier in the year, earlier month ago. If you haven't had a chance to listen to that podcast, it's a really good one because we talk all about that. And you can get, if you haven't downloaded the USF Pro Championships app, do that. Get that done because all my podcasts are on there. All of our new series, The Driven, is on there as well. So if you want to follow all the action, download the free USF Pro Championships app at the Apple Store for iPhones or Google Play for Android mobile phones and tablets. All my podcasts are on there. So much live timing, live video, all on the app. But listen to this podcast with with Alessandro Tullio, just really talking to him about how he's matured over the years, and he really kind of opens up, which I thought was fantastic. But not surprised, he got out of the gate very strongly here. He was quick. We talked about, I went through kind of who was top 5 throughout the test sessions and practice. They're already there. Tullio, Garcia, Elkin, Costello, Douglas. Those drivers were all somewhere in the top 5 in those sessions. Number of drivers in the pit heading back out. A lot of them are making double duty here already. They've gone in to make some, to run some laps, 3 or 4 laps. They're coming back in already. Tullio is in the pits. Brienza, Tangevelu, Taylor, Clark, Denmark, all in the pits. Tyke Durst, Monteiro, Mossman, Garciarce, Becklin, Eder. It seems to me like it is wholesale changes. Guys getting new rubber on. Talk a lot about the young drivers in the sport. This one's not one of those young drivers. Let's put it that way for sure. This is 61 years young Charles Finelli in the Fat Boy Racing Tatus. He's a veteran driver who we have seen for many years running in first USF2000. Did a lot of racing in the Formula Race Promotions FRP F2000 Championship Series. Met him about 20 years ago running in that program. But this guy loved being out, running with the kids, running at some of the bigger venues. I didn't think we'd see him here at NOLA. I know that he had talked to me about running the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. He's did a bunch of testing on the oval. He wants to go run IRP again, so I'm sure we'll see him at the Freedom 90. But Finelli back at it here again and trying to put those laps down. 135.769, his best lap so far. Tullio on top of the 129.886. And that's almost at least 3/10 clear of Garcia. So he has put a lap down. That was on lap number 3. Very, very impressive. $129.886 for Tullio. Yeah, I wasn't sure if we'd set a track record here or not, but we will. 131 qualifying record 131.4. So with the new horsepower, we actually weren't here with this newer car with the horsepower. That's the difference. We made our essentially debut here at NOLA as an actual in-season race event. We used to run a winter series a number of years ago, and that was in the older car, the older Pro Formula Mazda. So indeed, again, as I said before, we've increased the soft limiter on this engine a number, 500 RPM, I believe, which has radically changed the horsepower, the torque curve, and it made this car a bit tougher to drive, a little more on the bottom, but it's also going to give it more top end. And we are already well past that. 129.886 is the new qualifying track record for Tullio. It was set before by Nikita Johnson last year at 131.428. So let's call it a second and a half right now, up and rolling. There's the 28 there, Sebastian Manson. Manson currently running in the 12th spot. Manson out of Auckland, New Zealand, in the Manson's TCLM Limited Ted Manson Foundation machine. As I said before, very impressive in his first year running, I believe, in the Formula Regional Oceania Championship. Thrilled to have him over here with us with TJ Speed. 2 wins last year in the FROC. Or earlier this year, I believe it's actually in February. But back last year, he ran New Zealand Formula 4, finished second overall. Not only that, but ran the South Island and North Island Formula 4 series, was a race winner there. Also did the Formula Regional Japanese Championship with 6 podiums, second overall in the championship. So did a lot of racing in 2024, and we're thrilled to have him here in the U.S. for 2025. There's Manson, currently sitting in the 12th spot, 131.266 his fast lap. Just coming actually out of the pits, just finished up his stop. 6.5 minutes to go. Max Garcia now to the top of the 129.863 again. Whoever comes out here with pole position will set the new track record. We'll be able to try to do it again, as we know, at qualifying 2 tomorrow morning. Maybe a little cooler tomorrow. It'll be interesting whether or not it's warm enough now that it's getting greasy. If it's cooler tomorrow when we qualify tomorrow morning, we always obviously know the engines like the cooler temperature. Aerodynamics likes the downforce. Hotter temperatures, the better the aero. Especially in the heavier air with the humidity we'll have here. But Garcia up top right now, but not by much. Just over a tenth of a second from DeTulio, 129.784 to a 129.886. DeTulio second. Jacob Douglas up into the third spot. Pabst is now 1-3-4. Michael Costello fourth. So Pabst Racing, super impressive. We know their championship pedigree. They won one with Miles Rowe, won a USF2000 championship with Simon Sykes. So turn 3, the defending champion, though, with Lockie Hughes, as we know. So right there is Alessandro DeTulio in that same 44 that Hughes run last year. Oh, there's a tank slapper coming down into turn number 1. Lost the rear end of that, getting under the brakes, trying to trail into 1. It's one of the D-Force cars. So Garcia, DeTulio, Douglas, Costello, Ariel Elkin. He leads the TJ Speed crew right now, which currently sit in 5th, 10th, and 12th. Jace Denmark 10th. Sebastian Manson now up to 11th. Manson goes to P11 with a 131.065. Garcia, DeTulio, Douglas, Costello, Elkin. Max Taylor in 6th. Joey Brienza 7th. Owen Cangiavello in 8th. Matt Clark in 9th. And Jace Denmark rounds out the top 10. Clark, Denmark, and Manson all going faster on that last lap, as did Nicholas Montiero. There's the 18. What's going on there? Almost like it's dragging the left side. Maybe a suspension damage. I think that's Garcia. You can see how that car is squatted to the left side. Yeah, that right front is off the ground. So there has been an issue there. And I'm going to say that's not surprising. It could be a left rear push rod. And we saw a lot of that happen. Here's the thing. He's got to limp himself around right now. If he brings out a red flag, he could lose his fast lap. So he's trying to do whatever he can to stay out of the way so he doesn't bring that red flag out now. As he comes down from 9 to 10, look at that left front or right front hanging up in the air there as he has broken something in the left rear. And I'm going to say push rod. Again, we've seen a number of push rod failures with drivers really leveraging the curbing. I think some of the big places they leverage it, you think about the fact of how much you use that left rear. First, you can see that thing just on the ground. First through, of course, off the racetrack of turn number 1. Then coming out through turn 4, you're all the way to the outside, powering that left rear over the rumble strips out there. And then, again, the outside of turn 5, 6, 7, you're using all those strips on the outside. You can stay away from those, but it's worth a half a second. I talked to a couple drivers. Hey, yeah, I'd love not to be able to be on there and potentially risk breaking a push rod, but that's a half a second, and that's going to change things. The Garcia 129.7. Let's just go a half a second. That is 30.2, 30.3. That's going to put you back in 4th, 5th, or 6th. And then from there, it's going to put you further back into like 10th, 11th, and 12th. Just over 2.5 minutes remaining now. We cap off things for USF Pro 2000 qualifying. This will cap off our day here from NOLA Motorsports Park as well. Again, we'll be back tomorrow, as I had said before, with a big day. Qualifying in the morning for USF Juniors at 8:35, 2000 at 10:05, another back-to-back qualifying session for 2000 and Pro 2000. One continual stream for that if you're watching here on USF Pro TV. And then we get set to go. Essentially, we get rolling here with driver introductions at 12:25 Central Time for USF Juniors. Their first of 3 races, green flag set to go at 12:35. And rolling through. Opening round of races. Green flag for USF 2000, 2:30, and then 3:30 green flag for USF Pro 2000. Of course, our live coverage will start a little earlier than that. Garcia still on top of the 127.784, and he was able to limp that Pabst Racing Machine back up pit lane for the team to have a look at. DeTulio, Douglas, Costello, Elkin. Tyke Durst just went quicker. He goes to 11th. Excellent qualifying effort here for Tyke Durst in his second year in the program. 131.009 for Tyke. Another driver with limited experience. Didn't do the years and years of karting to get that racecraft. Jumped into F4 in 2022, finished 21st overall, got a 6th place finish at VIR. Next, another year in F4, 18th overall, but 9 top 10s. And F4 only gives you points for the top 10, so 9 top 10s. Last year, jumping all the way into USF Pro 2000. Didn't do 2000, right to Pro. 17th overall at the end of the season for Tyke, but steady improvements, and he was focusing on those top 10s, and that was the key. When you get into the top 10 as a raw rookie like Tyke, that's impressive, and he is kind of dialing things in here right now. Didn't have the best of weekends at St. Petersburg, finishing 14th and 19th in the 2 races. But man, I think he'd be happy with 11th. Might even be able to break into the top 10 here. 30 seconds remaining in the session. Garcia still out there, and I'll tell you this, DeTulio just turned his fastest lap, 129.855. So does DeTulio have enough here to throw one more flyer in? The fuel burning off, or the Continental still giving him the grip that he needs? He's back by that 10th of a second. He's still active on the racetrack. Doesn't tell me he's in pit lane. Here's the 28. Sebastian Manson currently sitting in 12th. Checkered flag flying. This is the last run down the back straightaway. The checkered flag flying. Going into turn number 10. There's a number of drivers still on the track. Manson able to get through for one more. Does anybody go quicker on the last lap? Coming across the line. You see it out there now. I'm seeing at least 3, maybe 4 cars still on the racetrack here. Maybe DeTulio, Tangevelu, Brienza, Denmark. You'll watch them come across the line for the final time here. Mossman did go quicker. Frankie Mossman on the last lap jumping up to 14th. He won't be happy with that, but it's better than the 16th he was before that last lap flyer. Just a couple of drivers still out there. So Mossman, the only driver I'm seeing going faster, he went up to 14th with a 131.185. 1.3 something seconds off of pole for Max Garcia, who still holds on to it. DeTulio, I thought, may be able to throw one in. It's shown him active, but he's already in the pit lane now. Final driver is going to be Manson. He's currently in the 12th spot. We'll see if Sebastian Manson can pull something out of the hat here on the final lap that jumps himself up into the top 10. He'll come across the line. 131.2 last time by, 131 flat, his best. And he does not go quicker. Only driver in the final circuit to go faster is Frankie Mossman. So Max Garcia on top. 129.784 for Garcia, 129.855 for Alessandro DeTulio. Jacob Douglas coming home in third, 129.998. You can see just about a 1/10 of a second separating all of these drivers. You got to go 3/10 back then, or at least 2/10 back to Costello. So it'll be Garcia and DeTulio on road number 1, Costello and Douglas on road number 2. So Pabst Racing locking out road 2, but they've also got all 3 of their drivers in the top 4. Ariel Elkin leads the TJ Speed crew in the 5th spot alongside Matt Clark. Clark was back in, remember, 10th or 11th. He an impressive run late in the session there. Here, he only did 8 laps total, but I believe lap 8 was his. No, he did 8 laps, but it's not telling me when his fastest lap was here. My apologies. But yeah, so Matt Clark ends up in 6th spot. Owen Tangevelu for VRD Racing, quicker than Taylor. Tangevelu in 7th, Taylor 8th. They'll be on road number 4. Joey Brienza in 9th and Chase Denmark 10th. Tyke Durst 11th. Sebastian Manson in 12th. George Garcia-Arce in 13th. Frankie Mossman 14th. Logan Adams in 15th. Nicholas Montiero, Cooper Becklin, Carson Eder, and Charles Finelli round out the 19 drivers we have in USF Pro 2000 here this weekend. Indeed, 60 drivers in total in the USF Pro Championships here this weekend. Tomorrow is going to be qualifying 2 and race 1 for all 3 series. We come back, of course, on Sunday. Three races in the morning, 3 in the afternoon. We're going to have for USF Pro 2000. Race number 2 is going to be something a little bit more unique. We're going to do a full pre-show. I'll be down on pit lane. We'll talk to some of the drivers, talk to some of the team owners. We'll let those drivers get suited up, and we'll have a command to fire engines to get things underway. It'll be a fun kind of a pre-show event for USF Pro, the top level of the USF Pro Championships. But, folks, that wraps up everything here from NOLA Motorsports Park on the day. Official practice in the morning. We had some issues. We had some red flags, but pretty solid through qualifying here in the afternoon. Kudos to all the drivers who found themselves on top. Of course, USF Juniors, big run for Oliver. Weldon, he ends up P1 in his first qualifying effort in USF Juniors. Liam McNeely in USF2000 keeping that streak alive after a couple of victories at St. Petersburg. And then Max Garcia coming in as the point leader and the most recent race winner, winning race number 2 at St. Petersburg, that point leader as well on top. So the point leaders keep things rolling here coming into NOLA. Garcia and DeTulio will be on the pole for race number 1 for USF Pro 2000 tomorrow afternoon. Thank you so much for tuning in, folks. It's going to be a beautiful day, weekend here. Sunny skies and temps in the probably low 70s, mid 70s tomorrow. Couldn't ask for much more from an event here at NOLA Motorsports Park. We do appreciate you tuning into USF Pro TV. Come back and join us again tomorrow. Qualifying in the morning. Race number 1 for all 3 series in the afternoon. On behalf of Anderson Promotions, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.